I'm sitting here on a Sunday trying to enjoy the weekend. Really don't have a lot going on for a change. Trying to catch up on Collision from last night, doing laundry, cleaning, doing that sort of stuff to start the month. 30th birthday tomorrow. Looking forward to that. And then I log on to Twitter and find out that RTruth has been released in his own words from WWE. Now, technically, that's not accurate. Sean Ross Sapp did later add his account was not hacked. His account was not, it was not an error. His contract, technically he wasn't released, but basically he was let go. He was fired. His contract is not being renewed by WWE. They're not bringing him back. As of today, whenever his contract expires soon, RTruth has been with this company on and off for 25 plus fucking years. Now, granted, he did spend some time away in the mid-2000s, going to TNA as Ron Killings, of course, having success over there as the NWA World Heavyweight Champion, and then coming back to WWE in 2008. But of the many, 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 many waves of cuts that WWE has done in the last, 17 years, and that's how long I've been watching wrestling, by the way. The same year that I got into wrestling full-time in 2008 is the year that WWE brought RTruth back. And he's been there ever since. Now he's been out injured. He's been, on and off television in the last 17 years. But he's been a babyface for a majority of that time. He spent that brief period as a heel, which was probably the peak of his run, in my opinion, in WWE, in 2011, facing a familiar name that we just saw him face last week, mind you, in John Cena. Yes, he was only just a week ago on Saturday night's main event. Challenging, not even really challenging, it wasn't for the undisputed WWE Championship, but facing the undisputed WWE Champion, John Cena. Now, granted, that match was a glorified squash, as it should have been. Really, RTruth is a comedy character, but he's a beloved comedy character. So when he came out with the John Cena theme song, with the John Cena attire, I thought that was funny. I thought that was really well done. As I've said before, it would have meant more had John Cena actually changed his music during this heel run, but that's a separate conversation for a different day. My point is that he was legitimately just featured in a prominent spot on television facing the current WWE champion on an NBC Live special a week ago. He was on SmackDown in the weeks leading up to that, promoting the matchup, doing an interview with Wade Barrett. He got AA'd through a table at the Backlash press conference, which set up the match. It's Saturday night's main event. 2 fucking days ago, this man was on SmackDown. Literally 2 days ago. I was shocked when Braun Strowman got let go, and I had thoughts on that when that happened a few weeks back. And this really is just a testament to how shocking this is that I am sitting here before you going live talking about it. I don't really go live for no reason. I try not to. I kind of save it for Tuesdays and Thursdays when we do the Q&A shows and, WrestleRant radio and whatnot. But I saw this, and I just couldn't believe it. And again, he was legitimately just on SmackDown 2 days ago, facing JC Mateo in a losing effort. And granted, there was really nothing to indicate what was to come for RTruth, but really, it's RTruth. The man has been there. He is the definition of a lifer. I believe he's 50 years old, so it's not as if he's a young blue chipper, on his way up in the company. The man's won United States championships. He's won tag team titles. He's been on every brand a million times. He has done everything short of winning a world championship in WWE. He has done everything there is to do in WWE. So I can already see the comments now. I haven't seen them. So far, I'm just seeing shock and dismay over the fact that WWE let him go. But I could see the, not anti-WWE people, but I could see people playing devil's advocate, saying, how much of a loss is this really for WWE? You're bringing in all these people. You got to make way for them, which is true. He's 50 years old. What more does he have to accomplish? That is also true. But there are just special cases. And I'm also not someone, I've been accused of this before, but I can promise you, I am personally not someone that will come on here or on Twitter, wherever, and complain about every departure from WWE. Some of them, it's like, okay, it just wasn't going to work out. And I'm not going to name names here, but if you've watched the channel or followed me for any stretch of time, you would know that I've had thoughts on certain people. I'm not saying I want to see them get let go. I don't want to see anyone get let go or not renewed or whatever from any company. But at the same time, some are more understandable than others. Some people reached their peak. Some people weren't getting over. Some people were never over. Some people just legitimately just don't have a whole lot of value to WWE in their current climate. RTruth is someone that at this point in his run was never going to be a perennial main eventer. I know he just challenged the WWE champion a week ago, but he's not someone that's going to be staying in main events and doing stuff like that. I get it. but he is an extremely special case of someone that will always be over, has always been over, and excels in every fucking storyline, spot, program that you put him in. Specifically the John Cena one just recently, and again, it was brief, didn't really live up to expectations because John Cena wasn't on the show to promote it. Cena beat him in a matter of minutes, and that was it. It was over. Honestly, it didn't really need to be much more than that. The match itself, that is, like I said before. But even before that, this man was involved in one of the best things, short of Cody Rhodes finishing his story, heading into WrestleMania 40 as part of the Judgment Day. He was off TV for a year. RTruth was off TV for a year. He comes back. He's automatically, instantly, one of the best parts of the show, pretending that he's a member of the Judgment Day. I mean, it really is surreal to me that we're even in this position that, WWE is letting someone of RTruth's caliber go. And again, he's not a main event player. I can't make that clear enough. He's not a John Cena. He's not Cody Rhodes. I'm not sitting here suggesting that he is. But as a lot of people have said from what I've seen so far and the number of tweets, my entire timeline is dominated by this. Not only current performers being shocked by the news and whatnot, but fans also saying, I believe, shout out to Jeff, may have been someone else, but someone had said, I think my friend TJ Legacy actually, he had said WWE has kind of lost the art of entertainment with characters like RTruth. For all the great wrestlers that WWE has brought in, male and female, and I've been happy with a lot of them. I mean, WWE has gotten a lot of great free agents in the last year. You should always have a spot for someone like RTruth, in my personal opinion. I mean, the man is just a comedy legend, and he's not everyone's cup of tea. Again, he should not be featured or focused prominently in WWE television. He should not be out there beating the Drew McIntyres and the John Cenas and people like that at this point in his run in his career. I get that. But at the same time, I can't tell you how many people I've known and am friends with. Shout out to Nick. He might be in the chat. I'll open the chat in a minute, by the way. I apologize. I haven't looked at the chat yet. Shout out to those joining now. Thank you. I'll get to that in a moment. Just want to get this off my chest before I forget. But I know Nick. Shout out to Nick. He's a big RTruth fan. One of the first things he told me when he first started kind of getting into WWE in the last year or two was that he was a big RTruth guy. And again, he was involved in one of the better storylines heading into WrestleMania 40, won the tag titles of WrestleMania, which was a great moment. The aftermath kind of left a lot to be desired, but RTruth has always kind of excelled as a comedy character, and that stuff does get old after a while. Could have probably put the John Cena stuff behind him after Saturday night's main event, although he was still doing the moveset and all the taunts and whatnot during the match with JC Mateo on Friday SmackDown. I don't know, man. I just feel like that's a guy that you forever have on your roster. And it's not, I'm just shocked by. The Braun Strowman one, he's been let go before, but I kind of made a similar case for Braun where he's not a guy that's on the up and up. Now, he's a lot more hurt, and that one was, that one was slightly more understandable because he was a lot more injured, more than we knew. That kind of came out. But he was also a guy where I said at the time a month ago when they didn't renew his contract or he got let go, was that he's kind of a special case where he's probably the biggest guy in the roster short of Omos, but he was always over with the audience. He was almost always involved in something substantial on television. And the time they brought him back in 2022. And again, that one made slightly more sense because he was beat up and they probably thought, he's injury prone. The whole injury prone argument is just fucking nonsense. I never really sit here and say, oh, that person was injury prone, get rid of him. I just think that's bullshit because everyone gets hurt, some more than others, but that's just the nature of the game. So I don't really buy into that bullshit or use that as an excuse. But RTruth was someone that was just constantly on the show, always over, and I just feel like you need people like him to fill that void of what you don't have on your shows. So I don't know. I was very frustrated by that, and just the fact that, again, he said he was released, his contract's just not being renewed. It's really, I can't emphasize this enough how, for better or for worse, because there are a lot of, positive things they're doing as well. This is the indication of a new era in WWE. It's just a dawning of a new era in WWE where they're just like, listen, we have no value, we have no plans for you. We did the John Cena thing. We got that out of the way. We're not going to put you in the United States Championship picture. So we want to save money here. We're not going to use you. We're just going to let you go. You're 50 years old. You're good. We don't have lifers anymore in WWE. That era of lifers being on the roster is long gone. Dolph requested his release a couple years ago, but that one also shocked me because, again, he had been there forever. And I don't think Vince McMahon would have ever let him go. RTruth had been there for how many fucking waves of cuts? Even during COVID, when they were letting go of everyone. RTruth survived even those cuts back in 2020 and 2021 when he was barely doing shit. I mean, this man is so entertaining. He legitimately made Brock Lesnar laugh during a Raw segment. If you've never seen it, go back and watch it. From, I think, February, January, early 2020, right before COVID. And I think that was right before Brock. I think it was before the Rumble. Brock also faced Ricochet in a Saudi match for the title and beat him in 90 seconds. But I think it was before that. And it was involved in, it was like around that same time. In Truth, like, made him laugh to the point where it was reported, which I think is true. Brock wanted to work with Truth after that. Like, he wanted to have like a program or a match, and they didn't go that far, nor should they have. I mean, that would have been kind of dumb to take seriously. But you know, even that one segment was great. And he's been involved in so much great stuff. I still love the heel run. That is my favorite version of RTruth. He's done a lot of great stuff in recent years. I feel like he's really, honestly, upped his value during the Triple H era. At the end of the Vince era, he was involved in that 24/7 bullshit, which was just fucking garbage. And again, to his credit, he made the most of it. That first 6 months or so, maybe not even, that might be being generous. The first several months of the 24/7 bullshit was entertaining thanks to RTruth. Now, he was involved in it until the end, pretty much. Literally, he got hurt, and then they trashed the title. I mean, it kind of worked out perfectly at that point in late 2022. But he dominated that scene for as long as it was around, and that shit was terrible, like what they were doing with the championship or the fact that that title even existed. And since Triple H has been in power, again, Truth was gone for the first year of Triple H being around. But it's not even as if Truth always a comedy character. Triple H likes the real wrestlers, like whatever. No, he fucking used RTruth, maybe accidentally, but he did capitalize on the fact that the stuff that Truth was doing with Judgment Day got over and people liked it. And then he utilized them on television. He utilized them on television, had him win at WrestleMania, gave him a run as tag team champion, and say what you will about that, but he was still on the show most weeks. And sometimes the comedy hit, sometimes the comedy didn't. It's not the biggest loss in WWE's history. I'm not going to sit here and say that. I'm just sitting here shocked. Shocked and to a degree dismayed, as many other people are, because he was legitimately entertaining. And I just still feel like, even at this point, despite that being probably the peak of his recent push facing John Cena, there was still more that you could do with them. Again, I'm not saying go out there and win the United States Championship or anything like that, but he's a guy that you just have on the show. How many fucking years was Santino Marella on the show? And I like Santino. He's actually in TNA now as the director of authority, their main authority figure. Bro, it just does not make sense. So I'm going to pull up the chat here. I appreciate everyone joining us on such short notice here on a Sunday. I will go through some more thoughts on the RTruth thing. We will not be here for long, I promise you. I just wanted to come on here, give my thoughts, because otherwise I probably would have waited until Thursday on WrestleRant Radio with RJ. And we will talk about it again then, but I didn't want to wait 4 days. I wanted to give my instant reaction now. And again, it's one thing if he'd be retiring. Like I had seen some people say, you know, he's leaving WWE, he's 50-something, he's calling it a career, he kind of went out on a high note with facing John Cena of all people. And that would have been one thing, but it sounds like this wasn't his choice. And they were just like, yep, we're not going to resign you. Just doesn't make sense to me personally, but we'll get into it. Daniel is here. He said, this sucks, but hey, live stream from Graham. Daniel, thank you for joining us. Appreciate you. He said also happy early birthday because Alexis mentioned it's my 30th birthday tomorrow. Thank you, Alexis. Thank you, Daniel. I wonder the rationale, he says. I think it's just a case of where they see that he literally, like we talked about the most recent round of releases. And again, I can't emphasize this enough either. I am not someone that will come on here doing a live stream, and you guys can attest to this. I do not come on here after every round of releases saying WWE dropped the ball on all these people. There are some people that could have done more with, sure, but it's not like they were, you know, all that important to keep around. Some people peaked years ago. I would have rather seen them do better years ago, but at this point, it's just like you throw your hands up in the air, you let them go. Hopefully they do better outside of WWE, blah, blah, blah. It's different for everyone. Certain people, it's like when Karrion Kross and Keith Lee and the whole Karrion Kross thing currently is a whole other issue. But, you know, when those people got fired, Swerve back in 2021, that was fucking bullshit for another reason. It's like you didn't even give these people a chance. RTruth, at the very least, it's not as bad as that, because at least RTruth had, you know, he's been around forever. He's done all there is that he could do as a character. Maybe they feel like he's kind of fulfilled his purpose to the company, but he's a great ambassador. He's a great human being. I'm sure he's awesome for WWE backstage morale. This will not help backstage morale. I don't work there. I don't work backstage. I don't know what it's like backstage. But I can imagine it's not always great. Like, I know the whole story that I think Fightful reported about, like them not giving out comp tickets anymore to friends and family of performers or people that work there. I'm sure they don't like that. I mean, the TKO era is indeed a very real thing. They are very greedy. I mean, any major company would be, I understand that, but is it really going to break the bank to keep RTruth? I mean, it would be one thing if they couldn't come to terms on a new deal. Maybe that's what happened. We don't know. Maybe he was making like hundreds of thousands of dollars. I mean, I guess they all do. Maybe he was making, I don't know, I don't want to say 500,000-600,000, but he was probably making a lot. I mean, he'd been forever. Maybe they counter offered with like half of his salary, and then he's like, you know what, fuck this, I'm leaving. We don't know. We really don't know the details, which is why it does help to kind of react to this stuff days later. But if it was just a case of like they didn't even give him a chance to be, they were just like, yeah, we're not going to renew. Sorry. Like, see you later. That's garbage. I'm sorry. Fernando, what's going on? He said, I can't believe Truth got the axe. This company can be so cold-hearted. I mean, they always have been. I mean, for a company that lets so many people go, this to me is still extremely shocking. It's extremely shocking because he's just a guy that's been there forever, and it's not as if he wasn't being used. You know, like, honestly, if I found out tomorrow, and I don't think his contract is up, maybe in a couple months, I don't know. If Karrion Kross, it was said they're not renewing his contract, I would not be shocked. I hate to say it, and I love Carrie, and I want to see them do something with him. It's bullshit. They haven't even tried recently. That wouldn't surprise me. They didn't even put the guy in a fucking Money in the Bank qualifier. He has not been in a meaningful role on television in forever. So if Triple H just gave up on him and they're just letting his contract run out, I think that'd be stupid for a different reason, but it wouldn't shock me. The RTruth one really shocks me. I don't think there was any report of his contract being up imminently. And he was also legitimately just on television 2 days ago and in a featured match on an NBC special a week ago. It's crazy. Daniel said, guys like Ron Killings are so valuable on screen and backstage. Absolutely, in terms of being a vet, but also morale. Literally everyone speaks highly of Truth. That's exactly it. I mean, this doesn't help when you have contracts coming up from certain people that WWE might actually want to re-sign. And they're like, you know what, you guys, my job security is in question. That's another thing. When you see a guy like RTruth of all people get fired, anyone on that roster, except for a few people at the top, are expendable. Let's be honest. I mean, even when Braun Strowman got fired, and he's still on a fucking USA Network show later this year, very strange how that whole thing worked out, but anyone is expendable. Aside from like the top guys, anyone could be let go tomorrow. They don't fucking, I mean, it's a business. Sports athletes get released all the time. Again, releases are a part of any promotion or a business. I get it. But it's who they choose to release that really is questionable. Certain people fill certain roles. No one, I think, in terms of comedy and entertainment, was on the same level as RTruth. Wrestlers, they have probably 30 better wrestlers than RTruth. Probably more than that in the ring, especially at this point with him being 50. Mike guys, way better promos. The RTruth promo last week, this is crazy, dude. He could have promo on SmackDown, which I didn't even really like. I thought it was not that great of a promo. They have way better talkers in WWE now. But what's funny about that is that I remember reading from Fightful, Sean Ross Sapp, I think it said that WWE was very happy, which I believe. I mean, I believe the report. Fightful's very credible. What I find funny about that is that this company, and we've heard this before, where this company will be like, yeah, we're really high on you. We love the promo, great backstage reaction, and then they don't fucking renew your contract. I mean, that's just shitty. I mean, Cameron Grimes said the same thing where he was like, yeah, I was getting high marks from someone that said, you'll forever have a job here, you're entertaining. The fact that he got cut wasn't shocking. They weren't doing shit with Cameron Grimes. But the fact that backstage they would tell a guy like that, hey, no need to worry. We have a plan for you. You're doing great. And then they just let you go. That's where I have a problem. That's just, again, it's just crazy. Yeah, exactly, Fernando. WWE just couldn't let you go to Disney World in peace. LOL. Exactly. I mentioned a couple days ago, I mentioned here on the channel, Alexis and I are actually leaving for Disney World on Thursday. Birthday's tomorrow, but we're, doing the celebration on Thursday through Sunday. Going to the last day of the Muppet Ride. I would have been fucking pissed if this happened while I was away. So thankfully they got it out of the way before. On my birthday, actually, 4 years ago, they released Aleister Black, Braun Strowman, Lana, who cares, but a whole bunch of people. They did a round of releases on my birthday when COVID was still going on in 2021. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, I just want to enjoy my day, and then I see this bullshit. Mike has said they should have done Truth versus Cena title versus career. Honestly, if they knew that he was, but that's the thing. They should have to properly explain why he's leaving in storyline, because they never acknowledge when people don't get, renewed or fired anymore. They never bring that stuff up, never on the show, really, but especially not on their even website now. They don't even acknowledge it on their website. So people might just go months without thinking, oh yeah, Truth, where is he? And then just hope you forget about him. Like people that are casual fans that don't go on social media or don't pay attention to the stuff that we do. And, I have a 6-year-old nephew. I think he's 7 now. I think he's 7. But anyway, I have a 7-year-old nephew that I don't know if I'm sure he's an RTruth fan. He would fucking have no idea that RTruth got fired unless his dad told him, who's more into this sort of stuff than I am, than he is, then he would never know. But yeah, they probably, if they had the forethought to do that, that would have been smart. Do you think they'll give him a Legends contract later down the line? They definitely will. I mean, this company, wrestling in general, it's never goodbye forever. RTruth will absolutely be back, whether it be for a one-off Hall of Fame. I could see that. I mean, you could laugh at that if you want, but they put in people that have accomplished not even half of what he's done and had the half of the longevity that he did. Either whether it be a Hall of Fame, one-off return, certainly a Legends contract, absolutely. It's just like, hey, we're going to fuck you over for now and let you go, but we'll be nice and we'll know that you want to come back down the road. It's like, it's never mutual. Rarely is it mutual. Mike has said, also, we don't know if he wanted to leave also. I don't think so, Micah, because I feel like he would have said that. He said in the tweet, I'm sorry to inform y'all, I just got released. I don't think he would have wanted to leave. We'll find out. I would just be very shocked to know that, to find that out, to discover that. Just because I feel like he would have probably had said that, I would imagine. Anyway, but you said Truth 08 through 2025 was a great career. He had a lot of great moments. He might want to just focus on his family and music. I mean, he obviously has a lot of opportunities post-WWE. Truth will not be hurting for money, especially I'm sure if he saves some of that money. I mean, I'm sure the guy made a fucking killing, no pun intended, Ron Killings, in WWE over the last 17 years. He has his music. He'll get no shortage of opportunities outside of WWE, whether it be for... and another thing, too, I remember seeing him advertised for the meet and greet this coming weekend at Money in the Bank. So they definitely did not know this was coming. They were advertising him as part of the meet and greet at the Money in the Bank Superstore. I remember seeing him because I'm not going to Money in the Bank, obviously. We're at Disney World. But I was thinking, like, oh, I wonder if he's an IC... Like, I'm thinking, oh, if he was an IC champion, I can go beat him, but he's not an IC champion, blah, blah, blah. I remember seeing him on the graphic. Like, it's one hand doesn't talk to the other in this company. But like I said, he will not have any issue being booked elsewhere. I mean, honestly, he can go right back to TNA. WWE worked with TNA. I could see him working in TNA. I saw someone say this. I thought this would be really fucking funny as well if he showed up in AEW. Again, not to be pushed seriously, don't get me wrong. But like if he showed up, whether it be for a short run or whatever, and he thought he was still in WWE. I mean, I don't know... from a law standpoint, from a copyright standpoint, if you could do this. But if you called Adam Copeland Edge, if you called John Moxley Dean Ambrose, like, oh, where you guys have been for the last 3, 5, 10 years, like that would be fucking funny. That would be hysterical. That's an opportunity waiting for Tony Khan right now. I don't think they can get away with him calling those people those names, or maybe alluding to them, maybe calling like Dean Ambrose, oh, hey, Lunatic Fringe, or hey, Rated R Superstar, which he does own. Fernando said he was an excellent ambassador for WWE. He definitely was. He was doing all the not Make-A-Wishes specifically, but like the Be a Star campaign stuff and, all of this stuff. Special Olympics, I know he was an ambassador for. He was doing all, he did media for them a lot. I never actually had the chance to interview him. I wanted to. I've never met RTruth. I've never had any interaction with him, unfortunately. But I hope now I do. I'm sure he's going to be at the WrestleCons and doing indies across the country, hopefully. Again, I know the guy's 50, but there's still money to be made there if he wants to explore that. I agree, Micah. You need the comedic relief. Who's going to be the comedy character now? I don't know. I mean, who do they have that's a comedy character that can kind of be put in a role like that? I mean, Miz's career is now a joke, but that's not the same thing. I don't know. I'd really have to think about it. I'd feel bad if Joe Hendry was brought in to put in that role, because obviously he has a higher ceiling than RTruth. But 2 former TNA world champions. I don't know. I'm not sure who that would be. I'd have to look at the roster. Maybe Akira Tozawa? I mean, he's not RTruth. I love Akira. I think Akira's great. But, Alpha Academy? Maybe? I don't know. Truth will be welcome back to TNA with open arms, Fernando said. Yeah, I could see that. Especially if he wants to still work with WWE in some capacity. Top 3 favorite RTruth matches, top 3 favorite RTruth segments. Happy birthday, GSM. Thank you, Micah, and thank you, Fernando. He said happy 30th birthday as well. Fernando said, I mean this sincerely. I thought you were 25 years old or something. I take that as a compliment. Thank you, Fernando. I appreciate that. I've been doing this for a long time. So people actually, sometimes I get, which I also take as a compliment, that I'm actually older than I am. People thought I was 30 like 10 years ago because I've just been around doing this sort of stuff, writing and whatnot for 15 years now. So people thought I was a lot older than I actually am. But the fact you think I'm younger is also a compliment. So thank you, Fernando. But anyway, favorite RTruth matches and segments. Matches, that's the thing. You can't really name a lot of great RTruth matches. Maybe the match in which he won the tag titles at Mania last year, that was kind of a mess. It was like a 6-team ladder match, which was kind of crazy. But, he won, which was cool. The Cena Capital Punishment match isn't great. Like, it was a fun little storyline when he first went heel, but it wasn't like this great match. When he main evented MSG with The Miz against Cena and Rock was a major moment for him. That was, again, that was probably the peak of his WWE career. He's more over now than he was then, but he was getting amazing heat. Like when he was fucking smoking the cigarette in England, which was, I think, maybe still even now, but at that point it was illegal to do inside of an arena. It was like a big deal when that happened. That was the night that he turned heel. I thought we would never see the day. Because I was kind of bored of him, to be honest. Back in 2011, I was like big anti-babyface, especially with RTruth. His booking was garbage for the most part. And he was still doing the what's up shit and whatnot. I'm like, dude, this is just not entertaining at all. And then they turned him heel and he was great. I really can't think of many matches, honestly. Like, maybe when maybe when he won the tag titles, but even before that, what could you really go back to? Like, did he have a lot of major matches on Raw or SmackDown like that were big? I mean, best RTruth moments in the Rumble. I mean, there's a number of them. Any of the Judgment Day stuff, I thought that was really funny when he was trying to become a member of Judgment Day, like when he popped up behind them and whatever. That I've seen that picture going around today. That was funny. Forgot what exact segment that was. When the first interaction he had with Judgment Day in late 2023 at Survivor Series, he was like in their clubhouse and he brought this fucking old school TV. That shit was funny. When he was in the 2016 Rumble and he brought a ladder in thinking it was the Money in the Bank ladder match. Him coming out, like I think in the Money in the Bank ladder match the year prior, everyone was interrupting each other that was in the match. This was before the match. They were hyping it up on Raw. And everyone that was involved, or going to be involved in the match, was interrupting each other on Raw. And then he came out and they're like, RTruth, you're not in the match. And then he was like, oh, my bad. And then he just fucking dipped out of there. That was really entertaining. My favorite RTruth segment, this is just so random, but I rewatched it not that long ago. I always found it funny. And not just for his involvement, but everyone else involved in the segment. They had a debate. And it wasn't even like an election year. This was 2012. So it's not like it was, actually, I guess it was an election year, but this was early on in the year in 2012. They were doing a debate for the Elimination Chamber combatants for the WWE title. I can name every single person involved in this segment. That's how memorable this was to me. It was Punk as the defending WWE champion, Chris Jericho, The Miz, Dolph Ziggler, Kofi Kingston, and RTruth. And they all had a chance to go around the horn and talk about why they thought they would win the chamber. You had Jericho going back and forth with Punk and with Miz, and Miz got pissed, and Dolph and Truth were whatever. It was very good, but the best part of the segment was when RTruth, I can't even do it. Like, it doesn't even do it justice. You got to go out of your way to watch it. Dolph is talking, and Miz made fun of the fact that Vicky Guerrero was with Dolph at that time. And he said, oh, you have this 60-year-old woman that could be your grandmother as your manager. And that was when, like, Vicky and Dolph were, like, romantic. Fucking gross, but that's what it was back at that point. Totally forgot about that. But anyway, with RTruth, he hears Ziggler and Miz kind of going back and forth. And he goes, Dolph. And he just keeps saying Dolph over and over like that. He doesn't say Dolph. He says Dolph. He's Dolph. I thought that was the name of a flipper. I don't know what. I don't even know if that's exactly what he said, but he thought his name was like a dolphin. And then he goes, kiki, 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 kiki. I can't do it justice. It's from February 2012. It's a funny-ass segment. Like, when he started doing the kiki thing, and he goes, Dolph, and he's got this look on his face like, what the fuck? I fucking die every time, and it's been 13 years since that segment. That is my favorite R-Truth moment, but really the heel turn was great. The little Jimmy stuff started with the heel turn in 2011. I enjoyed Awesome Truth. That was fun. The recent reunion was fun too, but the original incarnation in 2011 was very cool. I didn't watch his TNA stuff. I wasn't watching at that point, so I can't really speak to that. That's probably where he had his best matches, to be honest. In WWE, he didn't really have an opportunity. Not that he was even the best worker anyway. But I don't know. I'm not really sure where his best matches would have come from. If you're watching now, like I said, I'll go through the chat. If you're here, thank you, first of all. Second of all, if you're watching live, be sure to drop a like on the video. I would greatly appreciate it. And if you haven't already subscribed, if you're new here to the channel, we do stuff like this a lot. Not necessarily reaction streams, but a lot of reviews and thoughts and bullshit streams, Q&As, live podcasts and whatnot. So hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I would greatly appreciate it. But definitely like the video while you're here. That would mean a lot. Let's see. And if you're interested in having a little badge next to your name like Daniel and Alexis and people like that, you can sign up for a membership. A WrestleRant All Access Pass will get you that little badge and a lot more. I'm going to backtrack here. Give me a moment. Let's see. Daniel said it's also wild because it's not like R-Truth wasn't still moderately over with crowds. Exactly. I mean, he was still extremely over in the last couple of weeks, feuding with John Cena of all people. The R-Truth Drake Maverick stuff in 2019 was hilarious. Yeah, that was the initial, like, the best part of Truth in the 24/7 title picture. Like, I think this was Drake's idea, actually, for Truth to crash his wedding. I think that was his actual wedding, too. I mean, he ended up getting married legitimately, but I think that whole thing was great. Yeah, he was doing a lot of funny stuff early on as part of the 24/7 shit. Eric Douglas said, I can't believe it. Fernando said, poor little Jimmy, what's he going to do now? Yeah, I don't know. He's without R-Truth. Maybe he got released too. We don't know. We don't know what his contractual status is. Do you think he goes to AEW or TNA? I think he's such a WWE lifer, especially if it wasn't his choice. I don't think he goes to AEW. He might. I mean, to do what, though? Aside from what I made a comment about, like the whole joke thing, which would have a short shelf life anyway, is he really going to go there and wrestle? Like, they already have a lot of guys over almost 50 legitimately. They don't really need R-Truth on their roster aside from the comedic stuff. And they have a lot of, comedic wrestlers already in AEW that fit that mold better. Like, he's not going to go in there and have a great match. It's kind of what AEW is about, more so than WWE. I could see him going back to TNA, though, as Ron Killings. Yeah, Fernando said the same thing. Eric said, I feel so bad for him. I thought he would have been with WWE for life. I thought the same thing. Jason said he's just a mid-carder. He is just a mid-carder, but he had a lot more value beyond that. Millennial Noob said, hello, Graham. I'm pretty surprised that R-Truth is released, but I believe that his contract is expiring because he's pretty much in his early 50s. I mean, that's exactly why. I mean, it's not like he's 25 and he showed so much promise. I mean, the guy's fucking 50 years old. To a degree, I get it. If you look on paper, you probably see, I mean, Triple H is to blame for this as well. This is now, TKO is evil. Like, Triple H is signing off on these releases. If Triple H really wanted to keep someone like R-Truth, he would keep him. I mean, it's as simple as that. He would keep R-Truth, but he's not. But someone in the office, whether it be Triple H or whoever, and they're all to blame. So if you really want someone to blame, it's everyone involved in the upper management of WWE. They look at his spreadsheet, see how much he's making, see how old he is, and they're like, yeah, we're good. No plan for him imminently? Okay, let him go. His contract's expiring? All right, let him go. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. I mean, they had a plan. They did that plan. They don't have any current plans, so they let him go. Again, there have been worse releases. I'm just sitting here shocked. We are alive because, I still think it's a stupid release. I still think you find a spot on your show for someone like R-Truth, specifically in the WWE climate. I mean, in TNA, you could do this sort of thing. AEW, I mean, beyond the jokey storyline we talked about, you don't have a long-term role, I don't think, for a guy like R-Truth, especially in 2025 when he's already 50. But I just feel like in WWE, you could always find a role for him on the show, even if he's just jobbing or doing comedy. That is entertaining. Some of the comedy was, not funny there towards the end. Micah said, Kevin Owens' tweet to R-Truth was so nice, man. If you haven't seen it, please check it out. I did read that before I went live. I thought that was very nice of him to say. I thought it was very nice of him to praise Truth like that. Let's see. I'm going to backtrack a little bit here. Daniel said, watch, they put Solo Sakoa or Jimmy Uso in that comedy spot, given they have to do humor chops? Maybe. Honestly, I'm going to say this, though. I know this isn't related to RTruth. Solo Sakoa is fucking funny, man. Solo Sakoa is really funny. Solo Sakoa is a funny guy. He's not RTruth funny, I don't think, but he's been showing more. I mean, he's not going to be the comedy guy. I mean, this is a guy that they had at one point pinned as the head of the bloodline. So I don't think he goes from here to here. But I think Solo could do really well embracing more of the comedy stuff, whether it be as a babyface or as a heel. Solo's a fucking funny guy. And just the way he talks, he goes like this sometimes. I mean, it's kind of hard to describe, but if you know what I'm talking, like there's clips. I think I saw a thread last night on Twitter that said Solo Sakoa funny moments or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, he's a funny guy. Mike has said Vince McMahon paid a $10,000 to $20,000 fine for RTruth smoking the cigarette in the building that night. I forgot about that. Yeah, I guess Vince, say what you will about Vince, and he's a piece of shit, but he was willing to eat the bill. When RTruth got that heel turn in England back in 2020 or 2011, we talked about it earlier. But yeah, he was smoking in the building when he attacked John Morrison, actually, because those two were teaming at the time. And he attacked him, and then he just started smoking. I mean, as if the heel turn wasn't already complete from him attacking John Morrison. He then takes a cigarette and just starts fucking smoking it. Now, if it was 2025, he probably would have, smoked a joint or something. But even at that point, it was like taboo because you get fined legitimately in England. And I don't know if it's still the case now. I don't live in London, so I don't know. But at that point, you would get fined for smoking inside of a building. So I guess, like what Micah said, WWE got fined for that, and Vince McMahon paid the fine, which was cool. It was a very memorable segment. That's one of my favorite RTruth segments, to go back to your question from earlier. I mean, before that, I didn't really have a lot of favorite RTruth matches or moments. And even since then, I don't really have a lot of favorite RTruth matches. Like 2008, he came back and he challenged for the U.S. Championship against Shelton Benjamin a few times. 2009, I mean, he was on SmackDown for those first 3 years. He wasn't really doing a whole lot. He teamed with John Morrison. Didn't really care about that. He got that 1 month U.S. Championship run in 2010. He won it back for, again, another month in 2019, which was an accident, by the way. He actually won the title by accident. I think the referee counted 3 when he wasn't supposed to. And if you watch it, you could tell it's a fuck up. And then they just ran with it. They just kept the belt on him because they, didn't want to go back on it. But I think true that legitimately, I'm pretty sure that was real. And he won the U.S. title, and they just kept it on him for like a little over a month, and then he dropped it to Samoa Joe. But yeah, he was that was an accident. So he's actually a 2-time U.S. champion. Didn't hold it for more than 60 days combined, but he is a former United States champion. Let's see. Micah said, my favorite was Paul Heyman, Lesnar, and Brock Raw segment. I laughed so hard. Yeah, I mentioned that one before. Very funny segment. Back from early 2020, if you want to go back and check it out. McElroy TV, he said, do we know why he got released? No, they didn't renew his contract. Again, we don't know exactly why. I mean, I can check Twitter right now to see if there's any update. It's only been an hour since they went live, or about an hour. I don't know if there's any update, but I'm trying to see. Fightful said, per Wrestle Purists, because I'm still seeing a lot of like shocked reactions from people. Wrestle Purist said, RTruth's WWE departure was met with complete shock and disbelief, with one top talent calling it total nonsense. Another called this regime ruthless, which it fucking is, by the way. Not ruthless aggression. This RKO or TKO regime is ruthless. They don't give a fuck. That's not what the report said. The report also said it's by far the most criticized and universally disliked departure we've covered. Oh, I'm sure. I mean, that's not even close. That is not even close. Sean also said, we've unfortunately covered hundreds of releases, departures, expirations. I've never covered one that was so universally disappointing to talent and fans as RTruth's. A lot of people in the company bummed out and shocked. Again, I'm not surprised by that. I mean, the guy was universally beloved, as we talked about before. He's just a universally beloved guy. And again, we don't know the exact reason. Maybe he did something terrible. I doubt it. RTruth just seems like such a amazing human being. I would be shocked if he did anything heinous or, whatever, something to justify him getting cut or his contract not being renewed. I don't know. I'd be surprised. The Riddler said this is so whack. They could have given him something. Again, it's not even a case of like giving him something. First of all, he has had something. Like he was doing the John Cena thing for, a little while there before recently. When Cena turned heel, that's what he was doing. He wasn't really on the show before that. He teamed with LA Knight one night. Like, who cares? I didn't really need to see him like in a featured role on the show. I said that earlier. But you can just have a guy like that around. That's what I'm saying. You could just have him around doing shit. Doing the occasional comedy. He doesn't have to be out there, challenging for a world championship every month or involved in a significant program. A lot of people need direction. RTruth is someone who didn't really need direction. He just kind of plug and play. You just kind of put him in where you need him, where he's useful, the occasional backstage segment. That's all you really need. The Riddler also said, yeah, the spreadsheet said too much black talent. I'm sick of this. I mean, honestly, there's been I'm not going to say it's a race thing, but there's been a lot of discussion about that. A lot of discussion about not really necessarily releasing black African-American talent, but the misuse of black talent during the Triple H regime. I think there is a discussion to be had there. I'm not really one to be having that discussion, but I can totally see what people have been saying. I mean, when Triple H said during that press conference back in October, I think it was for Bad Blood, when he goes, did he not say I don't see color? That's just fucking nonsense. I mean, that's just a stupid thing to say. So, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, and when you meant, when I said something, I mean a Legends contract. Well, that could still be the case. We don't know. It's only been an hour or two since he got released or found out he wasn't getting renewed. I mean, I don't know. I mean, do they typically do that where they're like, hey, we're not going to re-sign you, but we want to sign you to a Legends deal? I feel like they still would have to, I mean, he would still be pissed about that, would he not? I mean, a Legends deal, you're not on fucking TV every week. A Legends deal is when you come back for, once a year for a Raw reunion or a Rumble show. That's what a Legends contract is. Or just make him a producer. It sounded like he didn't want to wind down in the ring. I mean, I don't know exactly what happened, but it sounds like he wants to keep going as an on-air performer, and he still has a lot of longevity. Like, it's not like he's terrible in the ring. Or like, yeah, he's 50, but it's not like he's, so awful in the ring or he has no use. I can think of a lot of older talents that have no use at that point that really people don't give a fuck to see. RTruth isn't one of those guys. He's a natural entertainer. I agree with that, Fernando. Maria, you said earlier, I skipped over your comments, but you said, hello, everyone. Hello, Maria. He said, I just saw RTruth on SmackDown. Shake my head. Yeah, he was just on the show 2 days ago. Daniel said, I agree. Solo Sakoa is hilarious. Maria said, Solo's dad was a funny guy as Rikishi. Yeah, I mean, he probably gets it from Rikishi. Rikishi was very funny. Riddler also said, TKO doesn't understand this business. I never thought I would say this, but they're going to run this company into the ground. We'll see. It's obviously too soon to say that. They've only been around for the last, couple of years since they bought WWE. And obviously, business-wise, it's booming. They have no reason to think that. We have zero reason to think. I mean, especially when business does cool off, because it will. Inevitably, everything does. But even when it cools off, is it going to be run into the ground? We have no reason to believe that it will. Just because RTruth got fired, I mean, it's really not that big of a deal. But at the same time, morale-wise, it could end up playing a big factor. Like, they could be making all this money, but certain people, I mean, I don't think Kevin Owens goes anywhere, but I could see him saying to himself, listen, if my job's not, secure, and, if my job's not secure, and I see I'm not happy backstage anymore, they're letting go of my friends, I might just be happy going AEW or something else. So I could totally see that. So it's not like they're going to fire RTruth and then people stop watching Raw. That's not how it works. But, it could have longer-term effects depending on how it goes. I mean, that's why a lot of people left in 2021. There were a lot of contracts that expired in 2021, 2022 of people that left for AEW. They didn't get fired or get released. They just up and left. I mean, these are not big names. But Johnny Gargano, Kyle O'Reilly, all people that, were not fired by WWE, but they left on their own accord because they saw the writing on the wall and they knew they would probably get fired anyway. So they just up and left. And then Johnny came back, but Kyle O'Reilly didn't. Micah said on the race thing, I'm starting to see it. Breaker gets called up, IC champ. Roxanne gets direction, put in Judgment Day. Julia, I think she's about to beat Zelina. Look at Carmelo's direction. I mean, again, it's not fair to compare, everyone's different because people say that. There was definitely a black performer. It wasn't Carmelo. It was someone else. I mean, there's been a lot of chatter about Carmelo this weekend specifically because he was like the #1 draft pick and his run has been, he had a great series of matches with Andrade. It's not like he's been booked terribly, but Carmelo really should have been a bigger deal by this point, or at least a fucking U.S. champion. You're telling me you couldn't have given that U.S. title to Carmelo Hayes instead? Give me a fucking break. You're going to give it to, I mean, I love LA Knight. LA Knight should have won the title. You're not going to give it to fucking him instead of Shinsuke Nakamura, or I'm sorry, you're not going to give it to Carmelo instead of Shinsuke? Give me a fucking break. But like, it's not like WWE has no black representation. Bianca Belair is one of their biggest stars. Naomi's getting a nice push. They have Jade. I mean, those are all women. Black males, I'd have to go look at the roster. I mean, it's not, NXT has a lot of representation. Javon Evans, Obafemi, Trick Williams, all great, among other people on that show. The main roster, it's, Bobby left, Ricochet left. Male-wise, I mean, I know this is a whole separate conversation. I mean, it really isn't that separate because RTruth falls in the category of black performers on the main roster. You guys, I mean, pull up the roster. I could pull up the roster right now. I mean, I'm kind of curious, actually. Who do they have that's a black male on the main roster that they're actually, like, pushing or doing something with? How many black males they have in general on the main roster? I'll go look in a second. But anyway, Michael also said Carmelo on NXT was a main star, gets called up under Triple H, and he's a damn jobber. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say he's a jobber. It's not like he's getting a Kira Tozawa treatment, but, I mean, he hasn't won as many matches as he should. He should be a bigger deal, and he's paired with the fucking Miz, who I like. I love The Miz. I've always loved The Miz. The Miz, being paired with The Miz in 2025 or at any point in the last 5 or 6 years is a fucking death sentence. Feuding with them, teaming with them. I mean, that's like them getting rid of Miz. Honestly, like, I could see that would be more shocking to me, because at least Miz at this point, I love Miz. Like, I'm not saying get rid of Miz. I'm just saying they haven't had shit for Miz to do in forever. And just anything he's involved in, whether it's his fault or creator's fault, I don't know. But it's garbage. Like, if they just saw Miz's contract expire and not renew him, I'm not saying I would understand it, because that would still be shocking, because he's also a lifer there, in my opinion. But it's like, okay, Miz doesn't like booking, or Triple H doesn't like booking Miz as a real threat, and he hasn't been a threat in forever. We're just going to let him go. So, I could see that, but RTruth was involved in some pretty significant storylines in the last year, and he was still over, and he was still entertaining. But they just go off of the bottom line and how much this guy makes and the ages, and that sounds like what they go off of more than anything else. Dax had mentioned, even Vince wouldn't let this happen. Vince and Ron were close. I mean, I'm not going to say I would rather have Vince be here than Triple H. I will not go that far. But yes, I honestly do not think Vince would have ever let go of RTruth. I genuinely don't. Because if he would have, I feel like he would have let go of him years ago. I feel like he would have dropped him in like 2020, 2021 when COVID was happening. He wasn't doing shit with the 24/7 title. But he didn't. He kept him on the roster. Vince did have his people that he just would never let go. Triple H apparently doesn't have that same loyalty or just doesn't feel the same way. Riddler said $40,000 for front row seats. It's running into the ground. I mean, you say that, but if people pay for those seats, it's not running into the ground. You will not pay for that. I will not pay for that. I think that's fucking absurd. But at the same time, if there are people, and trust me, there are, I don't know if it's fans or just people in general getting stupider, but people justify that in their heads. Oh, yeah, I get a fucking, box. I get a suite with Hulk Hogan, so that's worth the $40,000 loan. All right, pal, whatever. If you want to spend your $40,000 on that, go right ahead. I'll pass personally, but that's just me. But again, if people will pay for it, that's all they see. They don't give a fuck. If they're, if we're talking half-empty buildings and shit, yeah, that's running it into the ground. But the business under TKO has indisputably gone up in terms of the money they're making more than anything, but they got the Netflix deal during the TKO regime. Viewership's down and shit, but they're still on fucking Netflix. I still think Netflix will drop them in 5 years. They have an out clause. I don't think they stay there for the next 10 years. I really don't. I'd be really surprised. Daniel said the amount of talent across all companies commenting on this, while not slightly surprising, is astonishing. Yeah, because RTruth was just a beloved dude. He was just a beloved dude. Bianca said yes, but Bianca and Naomi were under. I think he meant under Vince. They were established already. I don't know. I'm starting to see it. You could say Trick with the TNA title, but that's a Shawn Michaels booking decision. Yeah, that's not a Triple H thing. That's a Shawn Michaels thing. And Micah said, I'll stop commenting. I know you don't want to be here all day. Thanks for going live. I'll be here for a couple more minutes. I was only going to be here briefly, but, this is, I appreciate everyone tuning in now. A lot of live viewers. I appreciate that. I just wanted to give my live reaction on this as opposed to waiting until Thursday, just while it's still fresh in the mind. Yeah. I'm seeing people say it's not a family-run business anymore. I mean, that's true. That's never been more true than it is right now. But yeah, the race thing I can see, though. Again, that's not really a conversation for me to have just because, I can understand it, though. I could totally understand the frustration, and I do agree, absolutely, to a certain degree. They're just not featuring enough. And Bianca and Naomi were featured more under Vince as far as like they were already established under Vince. Like are they focusing and specifically black talent, not just other minorities? Like that's also important, but like specifically black talent. I'm going to look at the roster in a second. Andrew said, when was the last time a black male wrestler won a one-on-one match on a WWE PLE? Let's find out. Probably not anytime recently. Black male won a one-on-one match. Carmelo, I know, is a crown. They didn't have any black wrestlers on pay-per-view for literally not even a black male winning a singles match. They didn't have any black males on pay-per-view, period, for a long time. Like up until Crown Jewel last year. Let's look. Looking at Backlash, Dominic Gunther, John Cena, Lyra, Jacob, no. WrestleMania, any singles black male talent when they're Io, Drew, Dominic, Orton, Logan, Lyra, John, Jay, New Day, but that's a tag team match. Jade, female. Jacob, Grande, Tiffany, Seth. So no. Let's go to Elimination Chamber. It's a good question. I mean, they have few and far between like spots on pay-per-view anymore. None on Elimination Chamber for single males, all right, not women. I mean, Bianca's won a lot of matches, but on pay-per-view. And we're talking black single males. That was the question. Royal Rumble, or no, this is Elimination Chamber last year. Hold on. Royal Rumble. Let's see. Ciampa, Charlotte, DIY, Jay. Nope. Saturday, it's main event. Deadline. No, this is all NXT shit. We're going off the main roster here. Trick Williams. I mean, no, we're talking on a WWE main roster. Lashley, when he beat Brock, was Mike. Is that true? That's literally 3 years ago. Is that true? I don't want to be here all day looking at this. Survivor Series, no. Crown Jewel. I know Carmelo was on the show, and that was a triple threat, but he didn't win, though. Nope. No one on Crown Jewel. No single black males that won at Crown Jewel. Night of Champions. Or no, wait. Hold on. Halloween Havoc. That's NXT. Bad Blood. Rhea, Damian, Nia, Punk, Cody, and Roman. Nope. NXT No Mercy. I mean, I'm only going to go back so far here. I mean, this is already egregious as it is. Punk, Bianca, Cody. I mean, you see a lot of the same names. Gunther. It's been a long time. Pay-per-view PLEs are only now 5 matches. Ridiculous. I mean, that doesn't bother me. I've talked about that before. As far as the shorter cards, that doesn't bother me. When they fucking fill it with all these commercials and bullshit, man, that's annoying. Let's see. Marcus said, you say this is not a conversation for you to have. As a black male myself, there's no problem with the conversation from a non-black perspective. All right. I mean, I don't know. I just don't want to be offensive or anything. I'm just trying to say. I definitely agree, like I said. I'm not saying it's not a conversation I don't want to have. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I definitely understand and I totally agree. There is absolutely an issue there and something. Because I mean, the other thing is too is that it's a conversation that Triple H needs to be brought to his attention by everybody, not just people who care about the thing. Yes, Marcus, I did see your message. Thank you for the $2 super chat. Let me know if what I'm saying makes sense. If it doesn't, if I'm not making sense, I apologize. Micah said, you're not being offensive, boss. I appreciate that. But I don't know. I just want to tread lightly on the thing. But I just feel like, because it's not like I'm sitting here telling you, oh yeah, there's no problem at all. They have no problem with representation. I mean, there definitely is. And this goes for a lot of minorities in WWE. This has been the problem for decades. But under Triple H specifically, I mean, specifically like when Vince was in charge, you still had the Bobbies and you had a number of other people. Big E was WWE champion for at least 5 months. 4 or 5 months. I don't know, man. It's just, it's not, it's an issue. And it's something that's been brought up before. But when Triple H goes, I don't see color thing is fucking stupid. And Cody Rhodes, I guess, even said that at one point. And he talked about later how Brandy, his black wife, obviously, had said to him, that's a stupid thing to say. You know? So I don't know. They definitely got to fix that shit. Kofi Mania. Kofi was WWE champion for 6 months. Say what you will about that run, but Kofi Kingston was a black WWE champion. For 6 months, he won at WrestleMania. I mean, I don't know if Mike is accurate when he says that Bobby beating Brock was the last time, a singles male performer won a match on pay-per-view. He might be right. That was over 3 years ago. That's insane. And again, to be fair, it's not as if they have no black representation. Of course, like I said, they have Bianca, Jade, Naomi. They're all excellent. But what about the men specifically? Carmelo was the fucking first draft pick, and you would think, oh yeah, he should be the guy. They've done very little with him in the last year. Not nearly as much as they should have. Not nearly as much as they have with other performers. I mean, it's not even just so, I mean, and I've said this before. I mean, here's another thing too. Here's another thing, too, and it's not just a race thing in this specific instance. I don't think it's a race thing. Oh, they're not pushing this performer because of race. With the person I'm about to talk about, I know this is separate from RTruth, but I wrote about it the other day on Bleacher Report, and it fucking bothers me that it hasn't happened yet. And I've talked about this before. I apologize for anyone that's heard this. The fact that Montez Ford, bro, is still in the tag team division to me is disgusting. It's disgusting. I just feel like Montez Ford is a guy. I literally wrote the article on, I think Wednesday or Thursday. I think it was Thursday. I was going to write about WWE's next breakout star. And you can make the case for Dominic or, Carrie. I think we've just, what's even going on there? But like you can make the case with a few different people, Braun Breaker, whatever. I said to myself, I want to write about Montez Ford. I think Montez Ford has all the tools to be, Carmelo Hayes also has all the tools too. Don't get me wrong. But Montez Ford they haven't even fucking tried. Vince was one thing, but at least at that point, Montez was still killing it in the tag team division. Montez has been ready for a singles push for as long as Triple H has been in charge. You could have, and I'm not saying break up the Profits. I'm saying just give Montez more single spotlight on his own. Have him still be friends with Angelo. Try him out on his own. They did that in the Chamber 2 years ago, and there was no follow-up. There was zero follow-up. Montez Ford is that guy to me. Like, we talk about Truth, like Truth is 50. He's not going to win a world title at this point. Still fucking dumb that he got fired for different reasons. But Montez Ford, dude, what are we even doing here? I know he's tag team champion. The Profits are awesome. But why is Montez still in the same spot that he was in 5 years ago? It just doesn't make sense to me. Him specifically does not make sense to me. Because he's a guy that I could see being that, champion. I said this before. Let's go through the roster real quick. Because how many black talents do they actually have on the main roster that are men? Honestly, that they could push, right now. I'm looking at the Raw roster. Breaker, Bronson, Brutus, Carlito, Gable, Punk, Cruz. No. Does Raw have no black people? What the fuck? I'm literally looking at the Raw roster. Where, they have any black performer? I know they have the New Day. I know I see Kofi's name on here, but you're not pushing Kofi. They pushed him 6 years ago, but that was under Vince. It's now under Triple H. Also, the New Day, they could do single stuff with them. They just choose not to. And that's another thing, too. With the New Day, again, I'm not saying it's a race thing specifically, but Triple H turned him heel in this amazing angle and literally no follow-up. They're tag team champions. Cool. The division has no one cares. There's no follow-up there. I'm not even kidding. I'm looking at the Raw roster. I think the only black talent they have on Raw for the men are the New Day. That's fucking crazy. I only see the New Day. Am I wrong? Am I missing someone? They have a lot like Latino talent. Obviously, a lot of Samoan representation across both brands. I'm talking the men specifically. That's crazy. And I'll go back to the chat in a second and just give me a second here. I'm looking at the SmackDown roster now. Angel, Alistair, Alex Shelley, Apollo Crews. Okay, so they have Apollo Crews, who obviously is hurt, but he was never on the show anyway. Angelo Dawkins and Montez I mentioned, but Montez should be on his own. I think Angelo's good. You could do stuff with Angelo, but Montez should be on his own. I mean, that's just ridiculous. Carmelo we talked about. So that's 4. The Profits, Carmelo, and Apollo. That's 4 black men on the main roster on SmackDown. And again, maybe I'm missing someone. Someone could be like, half white, half black or something for the men that I might be missing. And if I am, please let me know. But, LA Knight, Miz, Orton, Phoenix, Roman, Frazier, Escobar, Nakamura. I think that's it. I think they only have 6 black men across both brands. And these rosters are not, they're not lacking in roster depth. They have a lot of people on both brands for the men. That's insane. That's a problem. Anyway, I'll go back to the chat now. And if you guys have comments, let me know. Adam said, what the fuck? Fuck WWE. Truth constantly got loud pops. People love them. Yeah, it just doesn't make sense. There hasn't been any black wrestlers with the belts. I mean, yeah, the main belts, definitely. The tag titles, yes. Obviously, we have the New Day and Profits. They're black champions, but that's tag title stuff. Mid-card belts? I mean, none of the people I mentioned have been mid-card champions. Hayes, no. Apollo Crews, not in the last 4 years. Truth got fired. Profits are tag team guys, and the New Day are tag team guys. So, yeah, we haven't had any black male champions for the WWE title, the world title, or the mid-card titles. Only the tag titles. Oh, you guys are good for the tag team division. But, RTruth also was a tag team champion. But, you're not going to make him a mid-card champion at this point. That makes sense. Andrew said Trick Williams is developmental PLE and Bobby beat Brockett by DQ. When was the Bobby one? Elimination Chamber 2 years ago? That's wild. Yeah. Trick Williams main events NXT PLEs. That's great. There's a lot of great black representation in NXT, and they're booking them very well. Dude, they had a fucking main event at Stand and Deliver that was all black performers 2 years in a row. This year, they had Oba versus Trick versus Javon, and last year was Carmelo versus Trick. Both matches, main evented Stand and Deliver. Take notes, main roster. I just don't really get it. Maria said, I expect WWE to release Zoe Stark soon for being injury-prone like they did with Dakota Kai. They're not going to release her right away. I'm not going to say they don't release people who get injured, because they do. They released Carl Anderson, and he was hurt under the WWE watch. And they let him go a couple months later, which was, Carl Anderson didn't have a whole lot of value to WWE. I'm not even really sure why they brought him back. But for him to get hurt under your watch and then to let go of him before he can even be brought back, that's pretty shitty to me. So Zoe Stark just getting, she broke her. That was a disgusting break. I don't think they let her go anytime soon. Honestly, she might have saved her job for a little longer. They may have let her go at some point soon, but I don't think they get rid of her. I don't think they should either. That would just be terrible, given the current circumstances. Sucho, if I mispronounce your name, I apologize. Sucho? But you said Oba, Trick, and probably Javon Evans on Worlds Collide as North American champion. Please don't sleep on NXT. They don't deserve to be called just developmental. They stole WrestleMania week. Now, NXT, I think their booking of specifically black talent, but also the women as well, is way better than the main rosters. And there's a lot less for developmental or NXT. I know you said don't call them developmental, but there's a lot less for NXT to worry about. There's a smaller sample size compared to Raw and SmackDown that have sponsors and commercials and all this other bullshit. It's easier. I would say it's probably easier to book NXT than the main roster, but that's still no excuse as to why you can't book your women better with better storylines and your black talent especially. And again, people will say, oh, you're just going to push this guy because of that, because he represents this and whatever. First of all, yeah, it's kind of the fucking point. You need representation. But it's not like they're just, and another one I totally forgot. I'm sorry, I forgot about him completely because he's not on the roster on Wikipedia. Omos. Omos is another black performer they have on the main roster, but he's not assigned to a brand and he hasn't been on the show in over a year. So I don't even know if we can count Omos. And he might also be on his way out. If they probably will not renew his deal if I had to take a guess. But what was I saying? Oh, yeah. It's not even as if like, oh, yeah, we're going to, it's not like people are sitting here saying push X just because they fulfill a certain checkbox. Or, I mean, I don't think, maybe people are saying that. Or just because they fulfill a certain race, oh, yeah, we need more, black representation, Hispanic representation, blah, blah, blah. These people that they have that are black talents and Hispanic talents and, Japanese talents, they're fucking good. Like, they have great talent across all these demographics. And specifically with the black talent, they're fucking it up on the main roster. So, I mean, again, I know we kind of went far off the RTruth conversation, but it does kind of fall in the same category, though, because he's a black performer, and they let go of one of the only black performers they had on Raw or SmackDown, and they have a few left, but only 6 out of how many people? How many people do they have on Raw and SmackDown? 60? 70? I mean, come on, man. That's kind of crazy. And again, there's also conversations to be had about maybe Asian talent and how they book, how they've made Akira Tozawa a joke. I mean, that's a similar conversation, but I'm just talking about specifically the black talent because RTruth fell in that category and they let him go. And again, like I said, no one is saying just push this person. Oh, they're black, so push them. No, these people are good. Push them because they're good. But you also do need representation. That's also something to keep in mind. And it's not like just push this person because they're black and they're fucking terrible. No, every person I mentioned is very talented. Certain people should not get beyond a certain level. I agree with that. But everyone I mentioned, Apollo Crews will not be a world champion in WWE in 2025. Montez Ford could be. Kofi Kingston was. Doesn't get treated like it, but he was. Woods could have won a mid-card belt by now. I mean, I don't know, man. It's just, I don't know. It's just, I don't get it. I don't get it. I'll go back to the chat here. I apologize for going off on a tangent. I'm sorry if, like I said, if I'm speaking out of my ass here, if I'm saying something stupid, please hold me accountable. Just let me know and I'll read through your chats. Marcus also said, yes, you are making sense. I'm not offended at all. I thank you for bringing this up. Oh, thank you, Marcus. I appreciate you saying that. Thank you again for the $2 super chat. Yeah, I don't know. I just think it is, again, it is a conversation to be had. I'm not going to sit here and say everyone's affected by it. It's not just me. I'm just speaking as a fan. I mean, also from a racial perspective, it's totally a problem. But this is the sort of stuff that even one of my friends brought up to, his name's TJ. I mentioned him at the beginning of the video for a different reason. He brought that up to Triple H. I forgot exactly how he worded the question, but it was a very intelligently worded question. Now, you guys might remember this. At Bad Blood, and I think that was the answer in which Triple H said he didn't see color or some stupid shit like that. I'm like, what are you fucking, you sounded so fucking dumb. Just say no comment at that point. Just say no comment. I mean, come on, bro. Really? Just say no comment, because what he said did not do him any favors. And people shit on my friend for asking that question that should be asked. And then thankfully they put Carmelo Hayes on that. Oh, great. We'll throw you a bone and put Carmelo Hayes on the next show, even though he'll fucking probably take the pinfall and lose. But we'll throw him on one show and that's it. We won't do anything we won't do anything else with him beyond that. We'll put the belt on Nakamura instead, even though the guy's an aging 45-year-old vet. I guess RTruth was too, but Nakamura doesn't have the same value at this point that RTruth does, in my opinion. Not that Nakamura is bad, but just different case. Anyway, let's see. Eric said, do you think Booker gets called up? Booker T? Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. Do you think Booker T gets called up to Raw with his top protege and Steph already there? No. Booker T does not need to be called up to main roster commentary. I don't like Booker T's NXT commentary. I just think it's not a fan personally. I like Booker himself. The commentary is just distracting. I have never been a fan. No, I think the commentary team they have now, people don't like Pat. So honestly, who gives a shit, honestly? People fucking hate Pat probably even more than Booker T. So, honestly, if you replaced Pat with Booker, I don't think a lot of people would complain because people don't like Pat either, which is totally fine. I get it. But I don't think they do that. They're not paying Pat McAfee millions, I don't think, but he's a big enough star where you're not going to put Pat McAfee at this point on NXT in place of Booker T. Mikey said last black wrestler on a one-on-one for the men was Omos versus Rollins Backlash 2023. Oh, okay. That was a good match, too. Not the biggest Omos fan as far as he's amazing in the ring, but he had a very good match with Rollins that day. Marcus said, I don't like to see color either, but sometimes it does look bad. Yeah, and again, it's not even just the answer of I don't see color. I mean, you should, no, I'm not saying you specifically, Marcus. I'm saying the answer in general, it sounds silly because unless you're colorblind, obviously we all see color. It's just the idea that you should want to see more representation, even if it's not yourself. I'm a white guy. You know what I'm saying? For me, it's for a lot of people may not care. I don't care about representation. Yeah, because you're a fucking straight white male, so you fall in that category where you wouldn't give a shit. But for me personally, I want to see other people get that representation, and also this makes for a better show too. It's a totally legitimate gripe to have with the current product or the current regime. And I think you should want to see certain people get opportunities, especially when they deserve it. Push Montez, Micah also said, I need a heel stable of Montez, Dawkins, Mello, and Trick on SmackDown. I like that idea, actually. I put Bianca in there, too. I was literally thinking about this at work last night and how creative I could get with that type of storyline. That would be cool. The closest they came to maybe I'm wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, but they came closest to a stable, not like that, but an all-black stable sort of thing, was Hit Row. And the most recent iteration of Hit Row wasn't great because it was made better by Swerve. But I still liked Hit Row, and they were just a jobber group, and then they fired AJ and B-Fab's still there. They still have Ashanti in NXT, but they fired Top Dollar. AJ Francis they let go of. But Swerve they let go of in 2021. When they were in 2021, that was really okay, you had something cool here that worked in NXT. They didn't even fucking try. And I think backstage politics kind of fucked that up. Anyway, Riddler said, Montez looks depressed when I see him on behind-the-scenes media. Yeah, I mean, just as someone who has talked to him and doing media, yeah, I can see that too. And he also has given interviews that indicate he is also equally frustrated. He may not outward. You got to read between the lines. He's not going to say, oh, I really want to be pushed. He's not going to say that. But he does wish that there is more being done on his own, not just in tag teams. Eric said the issue with Mello will always be his size/height. Yeah, but people have overcome that. I'm not saying he's Daniel Bryan in the ring, but Daniel Bryan wasn't a tall guy. Daniel Bryan was one of the best wrestlers in the world. But Carmelo Hayes is also fucking great. He's a good talker. He's got charisma. I just think I don't know. I think you could do more with a guy to have him paired with The Miz. I mean, come on, man. Winning the Andre means nothing. Let's just be honest. Yeah, Tez is king. Otter said he is. Tez is awesome. You can't push Montez because then they'll release Dawkins. I'm not saying, yeah, you're right. They might, but are we just going to hold back Montez just because it might release Dawkins? I don't want to say I want Dawkins to get released. I wish they would do something with Dawkins. He's another one, too, where I'm not just sitting here, I am singing Montez's praises. But we've seen enough from Angelo on his own as well. He's gotten into very good shape. He's actually improved a lot in the last number of years. I want to see him do something, too, with the mid-card. Montez has a higher ceiling. That's indisputable. But I would like to see them do something with Dawkins, too. Thank you for the chat, though, Tristan. Micah said, Push Omos, did you see his interview with CVV? He's cool as fuck. I have not seen his interview with Chris Van Vliet, but I have met Omos a number of times and have interviewed him a few times. He is, I'm not going to lie to you, and you could probably guess this, probably the nicest guy on the entire roster. One of the nicest people on the entire roster. He is awesome. Fernando said, I'm sure Obafemi and Javon Evans will be called up to the main roster soon. Probably. Javon Evans was on SmackDown on Friday. I kind of fear for Obafemi I think will be fine. Javon Evans I kind of fear for a little bit. Obafemi I think will be fine. regardless. Specifically, because going back to the height thing, he has size on his side. Let's see. Give me a sec. We'll get going here in a little bit. I got to get going in a few minutes, but I appreciate you guys all being here. A lot of new people in the chat. I appreciate you joining in the conversation, whether it be about this, RTruth, really whatever. But I appreciate you guys joining in to talk about RTruth getting fired, because it's been I'm still kind of stunned by it. Marcus said, I think Montez is staying on the tag team for loyalty. If Montez goes single, the other guy is a matter of time before he gets released. I don't. Maybe that could be true. I would find it hard to believe that he's like, I don't want to get pushed on my own because I feel bad for Angelo maybe getting released. I'm not saying he's saying like, oh, fuck Angelo. Like, I want to be a singles guy. But if you watch the Love and WWE show, that's why I don't believe that, because I watched that show and he's very frustrated. That was even 2 years ago that he was in Chamber, had a great opportunity, maximized on it, and then they did nothing. And he was kind of pissed about that. So I don't necessarily agree with that, but that could be the case. It could be Montez who has made the call to be like, oh yeah, I don't want to do my own thing. We don't know. Maybe he can push for like New Day did to not break up. Like, you can push me, but just don't break me up from Angelo. I would like to see that. I've said that before. He doesn't have to turn on Angelo or vice versa. That I don't really need to say. But Montez really should be doing his own thing on his own at this point. It is egregious that it has not happened already. Fernando said, no, you are not wrong. Fernando said, Naomi, Jade, and Bianca. Yeah, we're talking about the men. Yeah, Riddler said, Rock is half black, but he doesn't want to show up. Yes, correct. Not that he's an active performer anyway, but yes, he doesn't show up. Soup Can said releasing RTruth is insanity. I agree. Yes, Fernando, we were just going through the men's. Nick said WWE is smoking some sort of... Nick is the aforementioned massive RTruth fan we were talking about earlier. That's why he's very pissed. I don't blame him. He says WWE is smoking some sort of Vince shit. Worst mistake ever. Can't wait to see them push more people no one cares about. Preach, my friend. JAD, why are fans still glazing triple? I mean, I've seen that nickname going around a lot. Shawn Michaels in NXT is where it's at. I mean, NXT's television isn't always amazing. I'm not going to sit here and say that NXT is exceptionally better than the main roster, because it's not. But at least he does give a lot more opportunities to the women and the black talents on his show. That at least much is true. Let's see. Fernando said, backtracking here. Give me a sec. A lot of comments. I appreciate this, guys. Thank you for sending in the comments. NXT is developmental. I don't understand the debate. I mean, it is developmental. I mean, people just get it is developmental, but I understand what the guy was, he was offended that it's not just developmental, but it is developmental though. That is true. I thought getting RTruth released was BS. I think you meant WWE releasing RTruth was BS. Yeah, I agree. Chance Talks Business said black culture is being represented. Travis Scott has been a major part of huge storylines. That is true. I mean, I'm not saying they have no black culture and no black representation. It's just not as much as it should be. Yes, Travis Scott was involved in the Mania main event, which he probably shouldn't have been. But he was also involved in the John Cena heel turn. He'll probably be back in Money in the Bank. I'm talking amongst their current roster. It is nice they're using, like Travis Scott. I've never been, I don't listen to his music. It doesn't really do much for me personally. But he is a major mainstream name. I think there's ways to use Travis Scott that don't have him involved in like the ending of WrestleMania. Like, if he is training and if he's going to wrestle a match, I don't really care about that personally, one way or the other. But if he's good, I didn't really care about Bad Bunny wrestling, and then he did, and then he surprised me. So that, that could have some, it could end up paying dividends for them. I don't know. It could exceed expectations. Fiend, Sucho said. Travis Scott has a championship and never wrestled a champion. Yeah, the guy's he's got the easiest job in the world, right? He's carrying around a belt. Never wrestled a match is what he meant to say. For some reason, the Samoan representation is the group they take more seriously than any other. I guess it's to please The Rock. I mean, it's not just to please The Rock currently. I mean, they're not just pleasing The Rock. They've always had a lot of Samoan representation dating back decades, even before Rock was even in the company. They're just a very rich, not like rich money-wise, but like a rich family history there. So that's the biggest reason for it. And they're also very talented, but so are a lot of other nationalities and whatnot that deserve opportunities. You never sound stupid. Thank you, Fernando. Andrew said, remember WrestleMania 40 when the Street Profit match was sponsored by Gin and Juice? I actually don't remember. I remember the match. Was it sponsored by Gin and Juice? I don't remember that. Maybe all of this wrongdoing is by TKO to bring back Vince McMahon to buy back WWE. I saw Coachman say that it would put Vince McMahon in a better light. Absolutely not. That is, I don't think it comes. I think Vince has nothing to do with this. I saw that whole thing. I think that's bullshit. Of course, Vince would want to buy back the company. Of course he would want to buy back the company, but he's not going to. But stranger things have happened. Lightning the Train asked about the race thing. Why do I think it comes down to race? The Usos are black. I don't know. We're talking about race because I want to see more representation. I'm not sitting here saying they have no representation. I'm saying, and I also don't think I'm saying it's a race thing, and that like I said, I want to see more representation. I'm not saying they let go of RTruth because of a race thing. I don't think at all that was the case. I also don't think at all they're not pushing certain people because of race. Could there be something behind that? I don't know. I don't know Triple H personally. I don't know the upper management personally. I do not work there. I am just saying I want to see more black representation on the show, among other minorities as well. But especially when you have people that are ready to be showcased, like a Montez Ford, for example, and Carmelo Hayes, why are we not doing more to, push people like them? That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying WWE. People will say that, and you have your opinion, and that's totally fine. I'm not going to sit here and say WWE is racist. I don't have enough facts to go off of currently to support that claim. If you want to make that claim, that's totally fine. I'm not saying that, but the other points I made, I do stand by. Carmelo Hayes should have been a champion, Chance said, but he is currently a better draw. Is he currently a better draw than any other champ right now? No. I mean, who are the champions right now? Who's the IC champion? Dominic? Who's the U.S. champion? Jacob Fatu? I'm saying you could have put the belt on Carmelo instead of Nakamura. Fatu has a brighter ceiling, has a higher ceiling probably. Jacob's awesome. It's not like they had the belts on the wrong people, but Carmelo should be doing more than teaming with The Miz. I said this before. Teaming with The Miz is a fucking death sentence. And Carmelo could have been U.S. champion already. Yeah, he's not a bigger draw than those people, but he could be if they actually promoted him. Or they haven't really tried. That's the problem. Just my opinion, though. Jey Uso and John Cena move merch. That is why they are champs. That's correct. I'm not saying Carmelo Hayes should be in that spot above them, but they deserve more. Carmelo Hayes specifically deserves more opportunities. I love Booker T, the wrestler. Booker T on commentary sucks. Slake the Geek, we all talked about, and we're riding over the RTruth thing. Cena won. Now we riot. Cena is Cena. I'm just saying they put a belt on Jay. Is he not black? Is he? I honestly don't know. Is he half black? I don't know, honestly. And I'm not saying, again, they have no black representation. Even if he is, I'm not saying they don't. He is pushing Jay. And I'm glad that. There's a lot of people that will tell you, oh, they shouldn't push Jay. Well, the guy's over. So, I mean, that's more over than anything. Samoan isn't black, though. It's Polynesian. I don't know. You guys are talking about Polynesian, Samoan, black. I am not sure. They have black ancestry in their family. I have no idea. Daniel Bryan also had to fight for a spot. He wasn't chosen. Correct. Hopefully Carmelo gets to that point. It's only been a year, but, I don't know. They drafted him first on SmackDown. You would think they would just... You would think that by now he would have done more with Carmelo Hayes. Or possibly on... I'm reading this chat. You guys are chatting a lot. I appreciate it. I'm reading the chats from earlier. You asked me what chat was I reading. Andrew said, why did Randy Orton get a WrestleMania match because of KO's injury, but Bobby gets put in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal when Bray Wyatt had a life-threatening illness at WrestleMania? Good question. I don't know. Bobby, when the Bray match got canceled, he did not have a match at Mania. He just fucking was on the stage with the trophy. And Orton's match, I mean, he saw Orton. Orton is a bigger star than Bobby, but Bobby should have still been on the show regardless. Even in an open challenge. I agree with that. WWE broke up the Hurt Business when they were still over and very interesting. Yeah, I mean, that was a Vince thing, but Triple H didn't put them back together. I would like a more indebted understanding of his opinions. That was coming from Lightning the Train. I'm catching up on the chats from earlier. Titan. I said Train. I'm sorry. It's Titan. I apologize if I'm delayed. I do got to get going here in a couple minutes, but we can always continue the conversation. Like I said, find me on social media. We'll do another video about this soon. That's BS. That's more BS than walking out the door of a cage match. RTruth is the BS that I meant. He loses to his childhood hero, and now they release him. Yeah, that is fucked up. I'd like to see Montez versus Jacob for the U.S. title. I agree. That'd be awesome. You know that guy who's universally loved? Yeah, we're firing him. Yeah, exactly. It doesn't make any sense. Fernando said Bobby and the Prophets were also doing interesting things together, and we're starting something with the Bloodline, but poof, they just get broken up out of nowhere. Yeah, I think Bobby got hurt, and then he left, and I don't blame him. How about Travis Scott in a cage match? Shark cage, I mean. Not a regular cage match. Just Travis Scott dangling over the ring in a cage while a match happens. Honestly, I would prefer that over Travis Scott wrestling. But if they, if Travis Scott's actually training, which I think he is, and he's actually good, then I have no issue with it. If the match is going to be awful, then maybe not. But the shark cage thing, I think, works. They released Ron, but they kept Little Jimmy. Well, we don't know. They might release Little Jimmy, too. Out of the 16 WWE champions right now, 9.5 are not white. Correct. And NXT WWE champions. That is correct. I'm just saying I would like to see, my bottom line is, I'm not saying WWE's racist. I just want to see more black representation. I think that's what other people in the chat are saying, and I agree with that as well. They have a lot of representation for other cultures, other male, female, everybody. Not as much as they should for certain people. That's all I'm saying. What do you think about Vince's new company? I mean, it's not wrestling related, I guess, his new company. But we'll see where it goes. It could still end up being, I don't think it is a rival to WWE, but we'll see what happens and who signs up for it. I'm shocked that Cross can't be in Money in the Bank, but Chad gets 2 shots. Listen, Chad's exceptionally talented, but in the Grande Americano thing is, I'm fine with it. But yeah, Cross should be in a qualifier. The fact that he's not is bullshit. Usos are not black, American, Riddler said. Well, there you go. Chan said, I want to see the best talent, and I do feel like there are black talent that need a bigger push. I agree. I agree with that as well. Sleek said, I think it's hard to have an entire multi-million-dollar company be racist. Like, super hard. I don't know about that. I'm not saying WWE's racist, but I mean, there's a lot of companies out there that have a lot of questionable morals. Let's put it that way. Now, I'm not just talking wrestling. I'm just talking in general. McCrispy Taco said, TKO ruined WWE. Triple H turned his back on actual talent. It's hard to watch. Chan said Carmelo versus Mysterio would be fire. Bro, that would be fucking awesome. That would be great. We haven't seen that yet, have we? Why are people saying Jay is black? And then Sleek said, I think because Rock's dad, but that doesn't really affect the Usos. Yeah, I'm the wrong person to ask. You guys are asking me, are they not pushing Jay because he's black, blah, 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 blah. I don't think he is. I think he's just Samoan or Polynesian or something. I don't think, does Jay have black history in his family? I don't know. I know with the Rock, I have no idea. He's definitely not a totally white performer. So again, there is representation there. But as far as the black representation, I just want to see more of it. That's all I'm saying. With the men. With the women, Bianca, Jade, and Naomi are all great, and they're getting a lot of push in TV time. It's just with the men specifically. I don't know. And maybe it's just a coincidence, but I would like to see more of it. Give me one sec. I think because the Rock's... Are you a Liv Morgan fan? Yeah, I think Liv Morgan's very talented. Yeah, RTruth should be inducted into the Hall of Fame. CRA said, I think he will. At some point. I'm just saying RTruth can get a 7-second dance segment and Carmella over. You don't release that. Yeah. He can get anything over. We need to have this conversation about the NBA, Chance said. I'm the wrong person to ask about that. I am not a diehard NBA fan, Chance. So, you're asking the wrong guy. We could talk wrestling all day. I have no say in that conversation because I have no idea what I'm talking about as far as that goes. Sleek also said, if anything, you send to him the Performance Center to teach the new people how to do what he does. Yeah, truth. Yeah, for RTruth. That is truth. That's a fact. All right, guys, I got to get going here. We lasted a lot longer than I expected. I appreciate everyone who was tuned in. I appreciate everyone who watched earlier. A lot of new people in the chat. Everyone that's chatted in recently, if I didn't see it or if I skipped over it, I apologize, but I try to get to as many as I could. But thank you for chatting in. This has been a lot of fun and interesting and enlightening and productive. No hateful shit and whatever. A lot of, varying opinions and whatever, which is cool. I think a lot of constructive, civilized opinions are always welcome, especially here on this channel. So again, I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. We spoke a lot about RTruth, but we had a much deeper conversation today than I was expecting. Riddler said, get the likes up. Hey, Riddler, thank you for saying that. If you haven't already, be sure to like the video on your way out. Chance also said, have a great day. Good conversation. Thank you, Chance. I appreciate that. Drop a like. Thank you. I appreciate that as well. Eric said, I agree with you on the Montez singles push. You don't even have to break them up. I've been saying that forever. Been singing that from the rooftops. CRA said, nice meeting you, sir. Nice meeting you as well. CRA, nice meeting you, sir. Any females here? Nice meeting you guys as well. Anyone in the chat? Really? We don't discriminate, all right? We don't discriminate. Chance said, first-time viewer, had a great time. Oh, thank you, Chance, for saying that. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate this sort of conversation. There's a lot of toxic negativity out there. You go to Twitter and other, and I love those apps and shit. But some people just say a lot of hateful shit, and it's just like, and this isn't, oh, thank you, Chance. I appreciate you saying that you subbed. There's a lot, and I'll end with this before I got to get going. And I have said this before, where like, oh, you're pro, not to me, but like just in general. A lot of people are like, oh, so pro WWE, pro AEW. Bro, I'm just a wrestling fan. I just appreciate when we can just call things for what they are, criticize what I think needs to be criticized, but also I think there's a lot of great stuff WWE's doing right now. RTruth being fired is not going to kill the company. That people will over-exaggerate and say that. Maybe it has long-term effects. I think it could, as far as morale and shit like that. But at the same time, there's also a lot of great stuff. I'm looking forward to Money in the Bank this weekend. But at the same time, I think that, people say anything over the internet. Yeah, you don't say. But, at the same time, I think there's also a conversation to be had about stuff like this. I mean, we don't really go into the race stuff a whole lot here on the show. So I love when we can get, like, serious and stuff. I know, Chance, you said you're a first-time viewer. But, typically we just talk about what we see on the show and what we can get in a deeper conversation such as this that I can offer whatever insight that I have on the product and in conversations. I try to do what I can. So again, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate it. This has been an awesome show. You guys have a great rest of your weekend. If you like what you see here on the channel, be sure to drop a like and subscribe as Chance did. Thank you for saying that, Chance, and leading the way. But anyway, CRA, Eric, Riddler, everyone else from earlier, Sleek, Titan, and everyone else, I appreciate you guys, and we will talk again soon. So until next time, folks, I'm Graham Giacomo Matthews. Have an awesome one, and I'll catch your ass down the road.